This week in Antholz, we saw some interesting weather conditions on the shooting range. From fog in the men's individual to wind in the women's short individual. We just saw some crazy obstacles on the shooting range. So today I just wanted to break down quickly a couple things that athletes can do to combat these adverse conditions on the range. How's it going, biathlon fans? Welcome to my YouTube channel about biathlon. If you're a biathlon fan, hit that subscribe button because there's gonna be new content coming out every week. Let's go. All right, so first we had the men's race. Check out these absolutely terrible conditions. It's so much fog. This is during zero, and I love this clip of the coaches just being like, I have absolutely no idea, I can't see anything. But yeah, as you can see, there's no, it's really hard to see. Now, conditions like these happen every once in a while. Usually we see them in Oberhof, which is why it gets the nickname Foggerhof. But what can we do in order to combat this adverse condition? Well, the first thing that you can do is you can open up your front aperture. And now what I mean by that is you switch out the aperture for an aperture that has a larger diameter and allows more light to come in. On normal shooting days when the conditions are good, a good aperture and good sight picture looks like this. But as you can see, when the fog rolls in, this normal aperture can be really hard to see through. So what you can do is you can swap out the aperture so you can get a little bit more light between the front aperture and the target, and it allows you to see the target a little bit better. You can see the Norwegians are doing this right here. They're swapping some things over. Christensen is playing with his front sight, and Maze is running around with a handful of a bit bigger apertures. Now the other thing that you can do, and some athletes have this, is you also can have a rear diopter that adjusts. So normally the standard peephole on the rear sight doesn't adjust, but some athletes have purchased an addition or a modification that can go on the rifle. Now all you need to do is turn this little diopter and it will actually allow more or less light into the rear sight. If you don't have this piece, one thing that you could do is actually just slide your rear sight a little bit closer to your face, not very much, but very slightly closer to your face to allow more light. And with this new aperture in this new rear sight picture, this is what the target should look like in the foggy conditions. Still not perfect, it's not gonna give you a crystal clear picture on the target, but it's just a small thing that you can do to try to combat these adverse conditions, because look at this, you can barely even see the targets, it's crazy. All right, and during zero, I also caught this clip of Tarjei Bo taking a lighter to his front sight and front aperture. Leave a comment down below what you think he's doing here. I have an idea, but I'm curious to hear what you guys think. All right, so let's dive into the race here and see if any of the athletes do anything during the race that will help them hit the targets here. As you can see, the fog has kind of gone away here for Quentin Fillon-Maillet, who is our first racer into the range. So let's see if he takes any clicks or makes any adjustments. So far, he hasn't touched the sight as he's getting into position, and he looked at the wind flags, and it looks like there was no need for any sight corrections because he didn't touch the sights. So let's see how his shooting goes. A little bit low on that one. Dead center. And a little bit high left. So really, I would say no corrections. I didn't obviously see the first two shots, but I would say no corrections for Fillon-Maillet. Now here we go. Gio Kamel looks at the front sights there and wow, takes a huge correction. Looks like 3 to 4 clicks to the right. His hand on the sight was moving forward, which means he was moving in the clockwise direction, which means he was moving his shots to the right. Let's see how it pays off for him. That's 2 hits, 3 hits, 4 hits, and 5 hits. So that was kind of interesting. We didn't get a look at the wind flags there, so maybe they picked up, or maybe this was team strategy. Let's take a look here at Didier Biathlon, and if he takes a few clicks, then I'm gonna say that the Italian team might have had a little bit of strategy here with the clicking, because it doesn't look like there's too much wind, and the wind hasn't changed too much, but the fog is definitely picking up. All right, looks like he took about 2 clicks clockwise, which means he took about 2 clicks to the left. So he's moving his shots more towards the center if he was on the right side. Let's see how it pays off for him. 2 hits now. 3, 4, and clean. So obviously it worked for the Italians. Let's take a look here at Johannes Dale Skjevdal. Now, as you can see, that it's really getting foggy here. He took a couple clicks there, and I zoomed in to see what his hands were doing. It looks like he took 2 clicks to the right, And then you just saw there he touched his rear aperture. So again, that's going back to what I was talking about. Some athletes have this adjustable rear aperture where you can actually allow more light in. So I think it looks like he maybe even adjusted it even more to allow a bigger sight picture, a little bit more light to come in. We'll see how it works out for him. And that's clean as well. So yeah, as you can see, a couple things to do in the fog. Really the most important thing is to just really trust your instincts and really have good trigger squeeze. Let the rifle aim itself. The target will definitely be foggy in that front sight, but if there's no wind, if you can see a little bit of foggy black, just have a really good trigger squeeze and you can still hit the target. All right, so moving on to the women's race here. As you can see, much better day, no fog, but take a look at those wind flags. Really, really windy. And of course, you know, it always has to have the worst shooting conditions on the day where the shooting matters the most, the individual event. You can see the wind here blowing Kirkaidi's hair all over the place. So let's take a look. Let's see what some of these women in the early start group did when it comes to correcting for the wind. We have Dorothy Avir here coming in bib number 3. Let's see if she's gonna take any clicks here. Take a look at that wind flag blowing really far, really hard, a little bit to the left here. Let's see if she takes any corrections. Looks like she took a click down, kind of surprising. Normally, obviously, when there's left and right wind, you wanna click left and right. We got a little zoom in on the target here, hit to the left, hit on the left side, and hit on the left side. So maybe Doro could take a click right into the wind because you saw that wind flag was pushing to the left. So let's see what Sophie Chavot does here. Down into position. Looks at the wind flags, no corrections yet, and she's gonna go for it. You can kind of see that wind flag. I can't see that one, maybe it was low left, right side, high right, and then miss high. So if anything, maybe she could take one click down, one click left. Hard to tell without that first shot, being able to see that first shot. All right, here we go, Merritt Skogan. This is incredible. Look at this huge gust of wind that comes through. The first thing I'm gonna recommend is if a massive gust comes through like this, don't shoot, just let it pass. I know you're gonna be like wasting time, you feel like you're wasting time, just let it pass, it's okay. You know, it's only gonna take maybe a couple seconds out of your shooting, and it's not worth trying to shoot through something crazy like this. Let's see how Skogan is gonna do when she does try to shoot through this. Okay, so far, no touching of the sight, so she did not make any corrections. She's gonna go for it here, miss high right, miss to the right. Here we go, now she takes some corrections. First it looks like she goes back and then she cranks it forward. So first she went counterclockwise, which moved her farther to the right, and then she cranked it, looks like 3 or 4 to the left to move the clicks in, and now you can see she's on the left side. And that one was still a split on the right side, so she could probably afford to go even more to the right. So yeah, just a little bit of analysis of the adverse conditions on the range this weekend. We saw 2 sort of different obstacles that the athletes were facing, but obviously both were pretty tough conditions. Let me know in the comments down below what you think, and until next time, we'll see ya.